Hello, everyone. Welcome back to DJ's Corner. Just my opinion. We are going to talk about the WarGames Survivor Series Review 2024. Overall, I really feel like it was a great show. It was good. It did what it needed to do. It wasn't too gimmicky. It wasn't too flashy. It was a thoroughly good pay-per-view. It was some points and some decisions that, personally, in my opinion, I didn't understand and didn't get. But we'll get into that as we go. Starting off, the women's WarGames match. Team Liv versus Team Rhea. Really good. There was slow spots in there, because you got to stalk with a lot of weapons to fill time for everyone to get in the ring. Kudos to Bayley and Nia for going the distance because they were the first two to start. Happy birthday to Naomi, a.k.a. Trinity, as well. The girls did a good job. Candice LeRae did good, too. It was a good match. Tiffany and Io had a really good spot where they did acrobatics. That's a program that looks interesting. Bayley, again, she does a thug dizzle. Raquel did okay. Now, Raquel, she didn't do much, but what she did meant purpose, and that's what I liked. Like, Raquel Rodriguez is a huge and amazing talent before she got sick. But once she just started being a big woman, and I don't mean that as huge, but just like how you said, a big man, big boots and impactful moves. I feel like if you're going to be Liv Slacky, do impactful moves like that. Like she did two dumbass big boots on Bianca Belair. I'm like, God damn. But that's what she needs to do. But then she got handcuffed to the fucking apron. I'm like, what the fuck? Which was kind of cool. Because you didn't really see when it happened. When it was a spot where they had the fire extinguishers and shit. Then all the dust, she hung up to the rope. Like, how the fuck that happened? I thought that was kind of cool. Obviously, it was probably Rhea. But I thought that was cool. Overall, it's a really sick spot where Rhea did the riptide off the top turnbuckle into the table. And that was all she wrote. Rhea gets a monocle of revenge, but this is kind of cool because she pinned the champion, and we also know Io Sky has a title opportunity against Liv Morgan, so that's going to be interesting to see how all that flows. Very excited, very anxious to see that. Moving right along, we had LA Knight versus the new Samurai Warrior Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't care what nobody said. The interest was fire. Nakamura is just back to rare form. Obviously, I know I'm typically due to say like, man, all titles need to be defended on the pay-per-view, but I don't think this one should have. I think this one should have kind of got a little more legs, got a little more story behind it. It was a good match. I'm not shitting on the match. It was a good match, but it was like the crowd just didn't have enough teeth to really get the stakes in it. I mean, it was times where it was like, yeah, you cheered for LA Knight. You cheered if you was happy to see Shinsuke Nakamura back. And the match was decent, but it just didn't have that, it didn't have that sizzle, didn't have that steak. I mean, it picked up in the second half. Shinsuke hit a reverse DDT on, the metal part because it was a double ring. Knocked LA Knight loopy. He hit him with the Kinshasa. LA Knight's your new champion, which I love. No disrespect to LA Knight, but you need a strong heel because there's not enough. It's weird what I'm about to say. You need a strong heel and a strong babyface to chase that title to make it relevant. Yes, LA Knight was a babyface champion, but the heels that he was fighting, not that they're not good, they just don't have no teeth yet. Andrade is, I feel like Andrade, they want to turn heel, and Carmelo Hayes is just, in my opinion, not quite connecting as a heel. I felt like they should have brought him as a face, and I think they might start transitioning them to faces so that give them time to build up more credible heels. So now you have LA Knight, if he's going to chase it, he's a strong baby face, and now you have a heel with the champion that can make that title really be relevant right now. Kind of how I had the Intercontinental title is like kicking ass on Raw. And yes, we're going to get to that triple threat match. That triple threat match was lit. That was probably, in my opinion, the best match on the card. It's amazing that as long as Sheamus been there, Sheamus is a ridiculous Hall of Famer. That's the one title that has eluded him his entire career, but he still makes you feel emotion. There were so many spots in that match, like, oh my God, he's gonna finally do it, and you get that, and then he just gets it ripped away from him. Loser Kaiser in the triple threat matches with Weasel did a great job. He did everything he was supposed to do because he's the smallest of that in that triple threat, but he did the sneaky shit out the ring, trying to snake, getting weapons, and Braun Breaker's just a motherfucking beast. He's just a fucking animal. It was like, how could I put it? Like, each motherfucker in that match knew they role, and they did it perfectly. I want to see these guys again. I don't want this to be the last time we see these guys on a pay-per-view together. If they spin off and fight single matches, but I wouldn't mind seeing another triple threat match. They need to run this match back. Of course, Sheamus hit a bro kick. You thought it was over. It was absolutely beautiful. It's, this is, like I said, as you can see, this was my favorite match. This made me get up and say, oh shit, like, let's go. After that, we had the Damian Priest versus Gunther. Obviously this is tough for me because no secret, I love both guys. Both guys are great. But we don't need the Finn Balor shit. Like, I'm so sick of the Judgment Day getting in tune in Damian Priest's things. Like, I feel like Damian has moved past them. He's done with them. And I watched it, and then the story that they told was, yeah, Gunther's a great dude, amazing, but Damian is gritty from the streets. He a tough dude. He ain't scared of nobody. You know what I'm saying? He's a tough, intimidating. And I like how they had Gunther kind of like, man, maybe I might get my ass whipped. Maybe I might lose. But the match started out good and strong. Damian Priest, a presence, doing his thing. But then he went for a shoulder tackle. Then he did my shoulder shit. So I'm like, they finna work this gimmick. And they go Gunther's opening. So Gunther worked the arm and the shoulder the whole match. But they kept Damian as the baby face that's not going to give up. He's going to fight. He's going to kick. He's going to claw. He's going to scratch. And it was good. And it still gave you hope, like maybe he might ekes this out. So there was this ridiculous spot where they was going for like a superplex. And I guess they both ended up falling. Damian Priest fell off ugly out the ring. Gunther fell in the ring. And then, you see the crowd going crazy. So I'm like, who the fuck coming out? There's Finn Balor, and he does the coup de grace off the stairs. Cost him the motherfucking belt again. It's like, dude. But what was kind of funny, Gunther ran up there and fucking booted fucking Finn Balor ass, got him the fuck out of there, and he picked up the win. So, I mean, to me, it's like, you already kind of had this finish with them when he won the title at SummerSlam. Now you have the same finish here at Survivor Series. So it's like, yeah, Gunther retained, but it don't mean shit. So it's like you're still telling the narrative like, okay, he can't be Damian Priest clean. So I get it. It keeps the story going, but it's like it shouldn't have been with Finn Balor. That's my problem. Like, Finn Balor needs to go do it. Like, he has the tag team titles. Go fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? Go that way. So nevertheless, Gunther retains. Okay, so now he moved finally to the men's WarGames. Now, I found it was interesting in the beginning of the show that, the new bloodline followed by Solo Sikoa all came together as like a unit. But Roman Reigns' bloodline all came separate. Like, him and Jimmy came separate. Paul came separate. You saw Sammy and Jay by themselves and CM Punk walk in by itself. So it kind of gave you the see, it's like, well, they're not together, but they're together. The match started. They all come under Solo's music, all together as a unit. Roman team all come out separately. And I also thought it was cool that Jay got the last entry, to get the crowd going and the pop. I thought that was cool. This was a good match. This was what everybody was anticipating. I know a lot of people was anticipating The Rock, Brock, all types of shit. I know I was. But I'm kind of happy they didn't, because the story was focused around these 10 guys. And all of them did a great job. This was a great match. It answered every type of question you needed. It was still great storytelling. Is Punk and Roman going to get along? Is Sammy can keep his cool? Is old feelings gonna turn up? You just really didn't know what to expect, and that's what I love most about wrestling. To me, that is wrestling. You just don't know what's gonna happen. So I love that feeling. It was a great match. It was super good spots. There was one spot in here that I hope it was selling, and I hope he's not hurt again. Jacob Fatu went for a moonsault, but it looked a little awkward with when he jumped off, and he instantly grabbed his leg. So I don't know if he was selling, but he was pretty much out of it after that. Like, he took a spot where Jimmy went off top of the cage to hit him through a table, and he was pretty much non-existent. But yeah, the match was typical, bloodline, super kicks, punches, this, that, and the other. There was a moment where it was Roman, CM Punk, and Sammy in the cage, and Punk was getting ready to go out, and Roman stopped him and said, "No, Sammy, you go." And then they stayed in there. Then it was time to ring again, and then Roman was going to come out because his family was getting the SmackDown, and then Punk runs in there. And he cuts off Roman, so Roman's like, "All right, motherfucker, I see what you want." And then, like you say, Roman got in there, cleaned house, did a stuck dizzle. The finish was beautiful. Like, Solo was the only one standing, and they gave him the most over fucking kill ever. He got fucking super kicked. He got haluva kicked. He got go to sleep, and then he got the spear. It was like an ultra combo from Killer Instinct. They just beat the hell out of this poor bastard. And they all stood tall. There was another cool spot in here where Roman tried to get the tsunami from big man Bronson Reed, who did a great job. Even though I didn't want to see him in this match, I don't feel like he needed this. I love what he's doing with Seth Rollins, but nevertheless, he got some exposure, and he got to rub shoulders with a lot of the top stars in the company, which is always good, I guess. He went for a tsunami off the thing. He was going to flatten Roman Reigns, and CM Punk saved him. And even Roman was like, "What the fuck?" And Punk let him look like, "No, I gave a word, I gave a promise, I'm on here." So that was a really cool moment. Roman lifted him up, and even at the end they shook hands, and they was cool. Business is business. It looked like at one point they all was going to fall apart, but then Paul ran out there and said, "Hey, motherfuckers, just get through tonight. Get through tonight. We'll deal with everything else." So I like that fact that they brought Paul, and Paul is influential in this. After the match, they win. They all walk out, and then Paul is waiting, outside the cage. Phil goes to hug him, and he's like, "It's all good, but man, when I need that favor, I'm gonna come to you." And then Paul Fatty was like, "I got you. Don't worry about it. Like, it's yours. It's yours." So that's another intriguing story. Is like, what is this favor? What is gonna happen? So like I said, I love the booking. The match was very stereotypical, like bloodline match, but the stories that were told and the developing here was amazing. So overall, if I had to give a grade to Survivor Series, in my opinion, I would give it a solid B+. It did everything it needed to do. It wasn't overbooked. It wasn't campy. It did exactly what it needed to do. You're going to continue these strong bloodlines because we're officially kind of on the cuffs of WrestleMania season. It's about to start gearing up. The next big pay-per-view is the Royal Rumble. But everyone here did a great job. I ain't going to even talk about the post shit when they do the interviews. Just go watch that shit. It was funny as hell. But nevertheless, just want to throw out my thoughts. This is DJ from DJ's Corner, and peace.